Hey, it's Gabe with Vitev. And I heard something this weekend while I was watching the Kansas-Baylor basketball game that I thought was pretty significant. It represents a pretty significant shift in the way we're going to start thinking about hydration, things that people are going to start noticing regarding hydration. Has to do with Gatorade, has to do with weight loss. So if you're somebody who works out a lot, trying to lose some pounds, or maybe more importantly, if you have kids who are starting off in that youth sports realm, wanting to work their way up in the athletic world, this is something you need to know as well. All right, so I've been a fan of KU, Kansas University, since about the fourth grade. I have loved basketball since that point when it was first introduced by my fourth grade teacher, who was fresh out of the KU School of Education. And I've watched it pretty much, I wouldn't say religiously, but I've followed it pretty closely since then. And so this last weekend, big game, they're playing Baylor, top two teams in the country, and I'm enjoying it. It was a phenomenal college basketball game. Even if KU wouldn't have won, I would have said it was a great college basketball game. But something was said during that game that caught my ear. And they were speaking about one of KU's big players. His name's Udoka Azubuike. 7-footer, got a huge wingspan, just an enormous guy, and really a physical specimen now when you watch him on the court. He's got an incredible story of his journey from Nigeria as a little kid, getting sent here to the United States basically so he could stay alive. To where he is now in the college basketball world and potentially heading to the NBA. And I'll even put a story link down below if you want to read about it. I would encourage you to do so. It's one of those good stories that everybody needs to hear. But they were talking about this physical transformation he's gone through. He's lost somewhere around 50 pounds in the last couple of years since starting to play basketball here at KU. And it's what caught my ear was when the ESPN reporter said the thing that he gives the greatest recognition to, or maybe has had the greatest impact on his weight loss, was the fact that he stopped drinking Gatorade. He stopped drinking Gatorade and he lost weight. Now this is a guy who, how much is he working out every day, right? He probably has a pretty significant calorie cushion where he is burning the amount of calories that Gatorade's putting into him, and he should be okay. But for him, it didn't work. And what's odd about this is, well, how does Gatorade market themselves, right? Incredibly healthy, great hydration, electrolytes the body needs. It's a way to refuel. It's a way to stay competitive. You watch their commercials and you see the messaging, right? But what seems to be happening is that, at least for Udoka, that didn't pan out. He couldn't get rid of the weight. He couldn't stay in the shape that he's in now. You watch him play 36 minutes in a game at that size, it's pretty incredible. So his stamina's up, his weight's down, his body looks like it's just been cut now, and he gives much of that credit to no longer drinking Gatorade. So the reason I think it's significant is because that's the first time I've heard it at a national scale, like talked about during a huge game where millions of people were watching it across the country. And one thing I've noticed from watching KU games is that they almost act like the audience is new every game. And so you hear similar stories come up over and over and over. I'm sure we're going to hear that same sort of story again a few more times in the next month and a half that the season has. So that's what I think is interesting, is that it's starting to get more recognition. For those of us that are in the water or the hydration realm, we've noticed this for a while, most significantly in the NBA. It's a little harder to tell in the NFL, part of that because in the NBA it's a much smaller team. You see them on the sidelines. There's a lot of pictures of them during timeouts and that kind of stuff. In the NFL, they've got all the gear on, and I don't think anybody in the NFL can even drink on their own anymore. They always have a trainer squirting bottles in their face. But in the NBA, you can still see it. And so what we've noticed the last couple of years is that there has been a significant reduction in the number of colored liquids you see on the sideline. There's no more of those, or there's at least fewer, the bright greens, the bright reds, the bright blues. And what you're noticing is a lot of clear bottles. Oftentimes those clear bottles have some tape wrapped around it to cover up the label, because endorsements and all that kind of stuff makes things a little bit murky. But they're clear bottles with the labels covered with clear liquid inside, or maybe a kind of a lightly cloudy liquid. It's not Gatorade. It's not Powerade. And one of the good things about the NBA is they're very much pushing the limits, or pushing the social media stuff. They do way better than the NFL does. And so you're able to find some information out about what's going on. And so what these guys are doing, and it's entire teams, it's individual players, is they're replacing the Gatorades and the Powerades, the sports drinks, with things like high-end bottled waters, like a Fiji, that square bottle, very recognizable, even with tape wrapped around it. Lots of players drinking Fiji. Lots of players drinking some bottled alkaline water like Essentia. In fact, I think it was the 76ers maybe, they stock the team rooms with Essentia bottled water, which is a great bottled water. There's way better ways to get alkaline water, but if you're comparing that to Gatorade, I mean, that's light years better, right? So coconut water, you have guys like Tom Brady, for instance, is using his own homemade recipe that the trainers make for him. He's not drinking anything with sugar in it or colors. He wants lemon and electrolytes. Pretty basic stuff. So the point here is that there's this growing separation at the elite athlete level away from these sugary sports drinks. Now, Gatorade's not failing as a company, right? They're genius in the fact that if you look at the sidelines, well, there's still bottles, there's still cups, there's still towels, right? They give all that stuff away. And so it looks like they're drinking Gatorade. That's what's in the bottle, that's what's in the cup. But more and more, it's not Gatorade in those things. The elite athletes are beginning to get away from it. Now, why is Gatorade still doing well? Well, go into your local grocery store, go to your youth sports field. What do you see kids drinking? Gatorade. A 10-year-old who played a little bit of a baseball game, who barely burned any calories and who hardly broke a sweat, chugging down a 32-ounce Gatorade after the game's over. It's not good. So if you have kids in that situation, start looking for those examples of athletes that are getting away from the sugary stuff and replacing it with better things in their life to improve their body, to increase their hydration, to improve their performance, and to not put on the pounds. That's what I think is significant. It's good to see. As an alkaline water guy, it's great to see, but it's just something I thought is starting to get a little bit more recognition and something you all may want to be interested in checking out.